And Matt was like, you don't actually have to do that. Why would you want to do that in front of everybody else in this whole room? Lol.
Right, yeah.
So that's a good hack, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good hack.
This episode is being supported by Tape It. If you currently use voice notes to record your ideas, you should try Tape It instead. Do you have any routines? Any ways of working? I mean, you've got two contrasting experiences here. Somebody who, in a way, who's starting out, somebody who's been around for
Not
a bit
in a way,
longer.
I would say that's the truth.
Yeah.
It's fine. You can say that.
Since hate.
No,
that's
that's fine.
But to get your, like you were saying, Olivia, try and use pen and paper sometimes just to kind of as a way of working. I mean, Matt, in the morning, do you have a routine where you get up and do a certain thing just to kind of get back into the zone
No.
or to shake yourself up to help you be creative, get in the right frame of mind?
Yeah, you sort of hear about, particularly like novelists, the sort of thing of having to have done 6,000 words before breakfast.
Or like morning pages and things.
Yeah,
people do that.
It's not ever been my. First of all, it's like you start playing the game when the whistle goes, sort of thing. So it's like, well, you could be playing football by yourself for no reason, but really it makes a lot more sense when the other players are there.
Yeah,
and the game's on. I love the game on feeling.
Game's on, yeah. Game time.
Yeah, and so the best for me, I my preparation is and my routine is only to make time to talk with whoever it is before we get into it.
It's very important.
Yeah.
I don't think we would have written anything good if we hadn't actually just like spoken for 3 hours or something beforehand.
Writing
a lot
songs,
of talking.
Writing songs really doesn't take that long. Finding out, making the connection with somebody and finding out what you want to say and how to say it and what's going to work and how to approach each other, that takes a while. That is actually in some ways the biggest skill, I think.
Deciding what it's about.
Or being able to understand what you're on about.
Yeah.
With a new person or someone you haven't met for that long. So yeah, I think that if there's a routine in my process, whatever, it's just every day starts with talking, tea and talking.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I would say from my maybe shorter experience, but something that helped me to progress, and I would say maybe get out of that space that we were talking about earlier where I was being really hard on myself. I believed for a while that I needed to write all the time. And if I wasn't writing all the time and like flexing that muscle all the time and being like really prolific and just like waking up every morning and just like writing loads of songs, then I was like not practicing enough or not good enough. And then I just realized that I only really like the stuff that I write that means something. So I should just write when I feel like I need to and not try and force it out. Like it doesn't really work. For me anyway, it doesn't really work like that. So I don't need to worry if I haven't written a song like in a month. That means that I'm a sponge. I'm sponging up what I will need to say. That will come out in an hour or 2 hours, but will be weighted and like important.
It's fascinating. This episode is being supported by Tape It. If you, like so many of our guests, use voice notes to capture your ideas, you are going to love Tape It. It is the iPhone recording app designed specifically for musicians and songwriters. With Tape It, you can record straight from your lock screen, set markers, add notes, and even include photos of settings. Plus, there's cloud sync, you can import your old voice notes, and to stay on top of it all, Tape It has great labeling features like automatic instrument detection. And all of the above is free. If you currently use voice notes, switching to Tape It is a no-brainer. But that's not all. Tape It has the option to upgrade to using 2 microphones on your iPhone, along with gentler dynamic compression to give a much more natural sound than any of the usual apps. And we have a special offer of a whole month of this high-quality recording for free. Just head to tape.it/tape notes to try it for yourself and see what a difference it makes. You have a favorite piece of equipment or an instrument or something that you feel is vital to this project or just to you as a musician?
Our most vital tools.
What's your most vital tool, Olivia? Apart from your mind?
Apart from my mind, it's a hard question. Voice memo feels like such a boring answer, doesn't it? I like to write with paper and pen when I can. I think that is good to try and do that at least a little bit when you're writing lyrics, because the phone brings other distractions and things, but can sometimes be quicker. So I'm not going to say I use paper and pen all the time, because that would be a lie.
When you use the phone, do you dictate? Or
as in for words?
Yeah.
No, I just use notes. Good old fashioned notes.
Yeah. So you're using your fingers and your thumb.
Yeah.
Because, you could just be speaking off your mind, and that could be writing it for you.
I mean, that would be clever, actually. Maybe I would take that as my most vital tool. But I don't know if I have a good answer to that question. Matt, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, I mean, studio-wise...
a piano?
Well, that's not vital, turns out. They're brilliant things. There's all sorts of things that are lovely to have, but I always say, when people say, well, if I only get one thing, what should I get? And I mean, I almost always say get an SM7 microphone. They're not that, I'm sure many people have mentioned them, they're everywhere, but they're amazing things. They're not that expensive. You can do proper vocals on them there. You can sing in a noisy room, and you can hear it. They're sort of unintimidating. They're soft, like a kind of like singing into a bear's arm.
I think it's actually worth saying, just as a point, that we did record a lot of the vocals on that microphone for this record. I think I went into it having on previous times I've recorded vocals being like, okay, well, now I'm going to do the proper vocals in a proper studio, standing up on a really nice mic. And that's what you do when you record proper vocals. And Matt was like, you don't actually have to do that. Why would you want to do that in front of everybody else in this whole room at the end of the day of recording the horns? He was like, why don't you just come and do that with me in the studio and sit down and be comfortable? And I was like, oh yeah. That's when I'll sing the best, when I'm comfortable, lol.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a good hack, I would say. That's a really good hack.
It is a good hack.
Yeah. So that's that. And that was a microphone that makes that easier to do, because you can just hold it in your hand, or it's just like, and you can drop it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I'd say a kettle.
Tea,
pretty important.
Yeah,
because apart from anything else, it gives you a minute to leave the studio.
Yeah,
have a piss.
Yeah,
it's also quite important. And
take a break
and think about things differently. And then it always sounds a bit different when you come back.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cubase, the best store that's ever been made.
Love it or hate it.
Love it, the only option.
Love it.
Don't know or love it. Those are two choices.
Yeah. You've actually got a Cubase tattoo, don't you?
I haven't got one, but that is my dream. I think I'm only ever going to have one, and I quite like the idea that it's the Cubase logo.
Yes, good.
Brilliant.
That's funny.